Okay, so here we are in the men's Australian Open final between Sinner and Zverev. Now it looks like Sinner is about to take this first set. And of course, he was the strong favourite. Now, stats-wise, Zverev has put up a good performance in this first set with just the one break, but it looks like he is going to drop it here. So I will be entering a strategy one hands-on approach in the second. Points are a little bit low at 42%. There's been quite a few breakpoints saved by Zverev. There we go. Sinner's taken the first set. He's actually saved 5 out of 6 breakpoints, which is a very good stat. And of course, it shows a lot of resilience. So the total points won. Yeah, so we're at 42%, a little bit on the low side. So I'll be a little bit cautious entering into this trade. But I will be entering nonetheless, because Zverev has put up a strong performance. So I'll put a back in a lay trade. And I'll be looking to lock in profit on the service games. So got matched quite easily there. As you can see, £3.3 million in the market. So let's just take a look at the charts. So Sinner started the price at 1.4 and he's right down now at 1.17. So if he does drop this second set, we'll be looking for an exit point of around the 1.40 mark. Of course, on price balance, Zverev is the polar opposite, and he's drifted up to, what's he, 6.8 at the moment. Actually, he got a bit higher, so I should have been a bit quicker getting in the market there. I was too busy looking at the analysis, but it's only a couple of ticks difference. So we'll just go back and have a look at the stats again. So 4 aces from Zverev, it's a good stat, versus 3. First serve percentage is strong from both players, 71% and 81%. Zverev winning a bit less than Sinner's, 62%, 85%, and fair second service stats. So say the breakpoint saved is always a stat that I keep an eye on, because of course it just shows resilience. And we've got service speed here. So Zverev is the bigger server, 208 kilometers an hour versus 196. Not a lot in it. And this is a stat that they are putting on the major Grand Slam matches. I've seen it on a few matches, but not all. It'd be nice if we did see that in more matches, but don't expect it in the smaller tournaments. Unforced errors, a little bit on the high side from Zverev, but say no major alarm bells here. It's much more consistent from Sinner at 7 versus 12. The threshold, if it did drop below 40%, then I wouldn't be entering a trade. We are a little bit on the low side at 42, but I say I'll be entering into these trades with a more cautious approach. And if it does look like Zverev is getting in trouble, then I'll be exiting the trades. So you see there, just the one break. We have two very solid service games. This one was a little bit dodgy. But of course, we've got to bear in mind as well that nerves can play a part in these Grand Slam finals, particularly with Zverev, who's chasing his first Grand Slam title. So, let's see if he can hold out this first service game of the second set in the men's final of the Australian Open. Okay, love 15. As you see, the score comes in a bit quicker than we see on the stream. This is perfectly normal for Bet365, and you always keep an eye on the score rather than the stream. Now, if he does go to love 30, I will be exiting at this point. Let's just see what this has done. So we're a little bit in the red just from love 15. Hopefully we can get back to 15 all. Be a shame to hedge at this early stage in the second set. Okay, so we've got 15 all. Shame that he's not getting those first serves in. I say he had very good first serve percentage in this first set. Yeah, first serve percentage 81%. And just those first two serves there, he didn't get his first serves in. So hopefully the first set loss hasn't rattled him. Nice to see some first set serves going in. Let's see if he can do that to take it to 30-15. There we go, 30-15. Yeah, nice bit of play by Zverev there. That's what we want to see. We want to see players leading, not going on the back foot. It's not usually a good omen when they go love 15 down. You always want to see them winning that first point to get some nice momentum to hold out their service games. So we'll be slightly in the green here. There we go. So if he can hold out this service game, then I'll be locking in some profit and then re-entering on his next one. But let's wait and see if he can hold out this service game. Just didn't get in that first serve again. Be nice to see the first serves going in. Okay, so he's gone to 40-15. So at least he does seem to be winning these second serves. But say we would like to see a few more aces. Just a bit more confident serving on these first serves. Okay, so 40-30. Actually got the first serve in. That was a pretty poor unforced error. Unlike Zverev, to be honest. So he's just not rattled by that first set loss. Let's see him serve out here. It'd be a shame if he goes to deuce in this first service game. Let's just see. So that's affected the profit a bit. So the market's just losing a little bit of confidence there from that unforced error. So just not getting his first serve in again. Okay, so he's held out the first service game of this second set. So the price is a little bit slow to move there. So we haven't had much movement there at all. I think the market was just a little bit rattled, to be honest, from that unforced error. So it's really affected the market, which is quite surprising. So we got in at 7. We're looking at a very small profit here. I want to see a bit more confidence from Zverev. Otherwise, this price movement is just not really worth trading. We've got to look at the risk versus reward. So I'm just going to lock in this profit. Hopefully we can see a bit better performance from Zverev. So lots of money in the market, and I'll look to re-enter on Zverev's next service game. I mean, Sinner is clearly looking the better player in this second set. He's obviously feeling a lot more confident with the set win. And I've got to be honest, Zverev just looks a little bit rattled. There was an issue with his racket in the first set. I don't know whether that's been resolved, whether he has got his new rackets. That appears to have rattled him a bit as well. Let's hope he can get it together. That's why, of course, it's always important to have a live stream of the match. Not for the score, always keep an eye on the score, but to actually see what's going on. If a player is being rattled, if they're getting aggro, if they're picking up an injury, you always want to have a live stream of the match. And of course, you can see, particularly in that last the first service game from Zverev, that unforced error. If you see a player making mistakes like that, then it's really an alarm bell. But that was a one-off from Zverev, and hopefully we won't see much more of that kind of play from him. So 30-15 to Sinner. So we'll be looking to enter back into the market. In fact, I'm going to put a back trade at 7, which is where we got to before. Can't see it reaching much higher than 7. And the late trade was at 117. I mean, let's try and get a 116. Okay, 40-15, so we're pretty much there already. Let's see if it will drop into 116. Just get another tick there. We might get it, might not. If not, we'll enter at 117. No harm done. Okay, so we've got the hold from Sinner. And we haven't been matched at 116. Cancel that. And let's just get in at 117. You can see how mechanical the price movements are. Identical to the start of the set. So that's how mechanical the pricing is. So very little movement here. If Zverev can hold confidently here, we'll carry on trading. He's looking a bit dodgy. We might have to reassess this because of the risk versus reward. Okay, not much movement at all. It's just a shame we didn't get in that drift there. Okay, looks like he's just not got his first serve in. We do want to see him being a bit more confident with these serves. He is doing well on his second service points, but of course we want to see these strong first serves that we saw in the first set. Okay, love 15 again, so he is on the back foot again, which is not a good sign. And I say he's just looking a bit rattled in the second set. We go to love 30. I will be hedging out, and I'll just have to reassess what's going on later on. But hopefully we can pull back to 15 all. Be nice to see a first serve going in. No, see he's hit that one into the net again. I say his service game has really dropped off in this second set, which is a shame to see. Luckily for us, Zverev has got a pretty strong second serve, but his first serves, as we looked in the stats, they're a bit faster than Sinner's, and he has got a stronger serve when he can get them in. He had a high percentage going in this first set, and unfortunately it's just dropped off in the second set. Right, so love 30. Okay, so I'm going to exit the market, love 30, and look to re-enter later on in the set. So we're in the red there, minus 32. We did, I spoke about the risk versus reward in the first service game. There wasn't much price movement there, and we have got off on the back foot there. So we actually got off at, well, Zverev's price is 9.2. If he is broken here, let's just keep an eye on what sort of price movement that will go to. I will often hedge at love 30, as you get a much better price than hedging at game end. Never know. He might come back to 30 all, but I will not be entering back at 30 all on this occasion. As I said, the risk versus reward ratio is just not there, and that's due to the confidence that the market has in Sinner, and of course Sinner's first set, pre-match pricing. So if we just remind ourselves there, pre-match pricing was 1.40. So the market does have confidence in him, and certainly been a drop-off in play from Zverev. Okay, so 30-15. Zverev is not the player that we saw in this first set. And you can almost tell, again, by looking at his body language, he certainly seems rattled. That's why, again, it's always good to have a live stream. You see the player's body language, and of course you can see it's all well and good looking at the stats, looking at the unforced errors, but if you're seeing actually, how blatant some of these unforced errors are, and of course, again, he's just not getting these first serves in. This is something, again, that you can see on the stats, but it's much more apparent when you're watching the live stream. Okay, so it's gone 15-40. I think we get the break here. I think it's going to really affect Zverev. And as you can see there, he's speaking to his team, and he looks pretty rattled, it's fair to say. And I think if he doesn't get another first serve in here, I think this is probably game over in this, possibly this set, which of course will mean he's 2 sets down. I know it's very early in the second set to judge that, but if he gets the break, it's very difficult to break back with Sinner. Okay, so 40-30. 30-40 even. 30-40. You just tell again, his head down. That's not very confident body language from Zverev. Okay, so he's brought it back to deuce. Now in other matchups, having hedged out at love 30, I would often re-enter that deuce. But I say, from that first service game, we're just not locking in much profit. So again, this is all about the risk versus reward ratio. The risk is much higher than the potential reward. Of course, this is due to Jannik Sinner's price, but also the confidence that the market has in him. And again, there's just a slight drop-off in play from Zverev in this second set. Okay, so it's an advantage Zverev. I'd be interested to see if he can hold out here, what the pricing goes to. So for me, it's just not worth entering into another trade at this stage. Okay, so he's had a couple of first serves in a row going in, so maybe he's going to pick up the tempo here, and there we go. Yeah, so he's got this second hold. It was obviously a shame to have that hedge at love 30. Let's see what's happening with the price movement. Yeah, very little price movement. We got in at 1.17. It's only moved to 1.18. In fact, it's dithering between 1.8 and 1.17. And we've only got down to 6.6 here. So you get in at 7. Okay, the price, quite a bit of jumping around of prices here, but safely you get in at 6.4, 6.6. Now from 7, again, that's very small price movement. And as I say, for the next service game, unless of course we can get a break, I'm not going to look to re-enter, because again, the risk versus reward, you're just getting very little upside for potentially a very big downside. Now I'm at minus 32. That's not a major issue. It's a shame to go at a loss at this early stage of this final. But actually, I've been running Platinum Traders throughout the whole tournament, and looking, I think we're currently about 18, 19 points profit. That's trading just one match per day, and that's also with a couple of no trades. I think we had about 3 days with no trades. Of course, the conditions have got to be right to enter into a trade, and I do have a much more cautious approach to my trading, and that enables me to have much better longer term profitability. So it is a shame to go into the red here, but it's no major harm done, as that's a drop in the ocean with the profits that I've made in the previous games in this Australian Open. Would be nice to see a break here on Sinner. I think it's unlikely. If we do get a break on Sinner, then I will be looking to enter into a trade on Zverev. That will certainly change the momentum of this second set. So while Sinner's serving, let's just check out the stats on this second set. Yeah, I mean, we noticed that, didn't we? The first serve percentage right down to 50%. He is still winning a large amount of these at 86%, 6 out of 7. But 50% is dramatically lower than the first set. Interestingly, Sinner's is also much lower. 67. I know we're only in the second service game, but it's always good just keep an eye on these stats. So that 50% compared to in the first set, 81% and 71%. So we visibly saw Zverev really struggling on his first serves in the second set. And of course, which meant to the hedge at love 30. Okay, so love 30 to Sinner again. He's looking much calmer, much more composed. Of course, he has got the one set advantage. You can certainly see the comparison in the body language between the two players. Sinner's very cool, calm and collected. And Zverev, really seems to be playing on the back foot here. 40 love. Again, very confident serving from Sinner. So just getting a slightly higher drift there. I don't think we're going to see much more than 7.2 on the hold. I say before, we were getting in at 7. We had 2 trades at 7. The pricing is incredibly mechanical. But just very, very little movement here. It's just not worth another trade at the moment on the risk versus reward ratio. And a confident hold. So we have just got a further drift at 7.6 or 7.4. And on the lay side, 1.16. Just in between 1.15, 1.16. Should be able to get in at 1.16. But I'm not going to, unless I see more confident serving from Zverev. The price movement is just not there to justify entering. If the players were more evenly priced and had a bit more confidence in Zverev, then I would be looking to re-enter here. But at the moment, I'm not looking to re-enter into this second set. So, unusual to see an unforced error like that from Sinner. It's 15 love. It'd be nice to see a nice, confident service game from Zverev. But say at the moment, I'm not looking to enter into a trade. I will enter into trade if we can get the break on Sinner. But I say in this second set, I think that is unlikely. Can of course happen, and does happen. But the momentum just seems to be with Sinner. We have a look at the stats of this second set. First serve percentage is a bit low from Sinner. Breakpoint saved. Again, this is a good stat from Zverev, as we saw in the first set. But he just shouldn't be getting himself in the situation where he's got to save these break points. We want to see really confident serving from him in order to have the confidence to back him. Unforced errors is quite high already. We're only in the fifth game of the second set. And he's at 8 unforced errors. He has hit more winners at 5, which of course he is the more aggressive player. Total points won, not far off, 44 versus 56. So 30-15. And look at that, hardly any movement in the price at all. So this again, to reiterate, is the reason why I'm not re-entering at the moment, because we're getting such small price movement that the downside outweighs the upside of entering a trade. Even if he holds this, I don't expect it to be much lower than sort of 6.4. In our previous trade, we got in at 6.6 and 1.18. So it's literally just a couple of ticks movements. So 40-15, yeah, we got 6.4, 6.6. You'd be able to get in at 6.6 if you wanted to, but I say we're not trading this one. It's just interesting to keep an eye on the price movements. So Sinner's just taking this next point, taking it to 40-30. Again, just keep an eye on Zverev's body language, the bowed head, in comparison to Sinner. Sinner's just such a cool, calm, and collected player. So as I mentioned, the first serve percentage, actually it's gone up a bit, it's gone to 58%. He was at 50% earlier. Okay, so he's just won that second serve. So he's held out another service game. And again, yeah, bang on like I said, 6.6 you'd be able to get in at. These price movements are just not worth trading the second set. It would be much higher price movements if the players were more evenly matched. And of course, if the market didn't have so much confidence in Sinner, but when the market has this degree of confidence in the favourite, it's just not worth trading. Now, of course, I did enter into that first set trade. Sorry, the first service game and the second service game. Just hoping that the market would increase its confidence in Zverev, but it was no major harm done. We got out with half a point in the red, but no major harm done. And again, in comparison, that is a drop in the ocean with the profit that we've already made in Platinum Traders. It'd be nice to come away with some profit in this final game of this 2-week period at the Australian Open, but we'd have to see a real upturn from Zverev's performance in this second set. If he does go 2 sets down, I will not be entering into the third. But of course, he can always come back from that. Possibly get some more trades later on in this match. We're still very early in this final. So just a reminder, Sinner won the first set 6-3 with just the one break. No other breaks. We did have a break point in Zverev's second service game. And of course, we had the hedge at love 30. As I said, we're just holding out here to try and catch a break on Sinner. If we do, then I'll be adopting my jumping on an early break strategy to then back Zverev in the next game. I say a break is quite unlikely on Sinner's service game. Again, just keep an eye on the body language between the two players. There's a vast difference in this body language between the two. Sinner is just so cool and calm, and it just seems completely effortless from Sinner. Okay, 30 love. So again, it just looks very unlikely that we are going to get a break in this second set. A break would mean we're re-entering, but it's very unlikely. But never say never. Still got plenty of time to catch a potential break. Okay, Zverev has just won that point, 30-15. The stream does have a slight delay compared to scoring, but this is completely normal with Bet365. And of course, we use the stream to see what's going on in the match, but always keep an eye on the live score. There's sometimes a slight difference in the delay between, we've got Bet365 score here, 30-15 there, flash scores, and then of course over on Fairbot, we've got the Betfair stream. But they all tend to be much of a muchness, and you can get in with your trades in good time. So we're not sort of trading, most of the time we're not trading during the games. There are times where I will trade during the games where you've got to be much quicker, because of course you haven't got that time in between the service games. Okay, it's a 30-all here. So we might see an uptick in performance from Zverev. So if we do, and he gets the break, then I will be looking to re-enter the market, because of course then we really will have some price movement. Okay, confident serve again from Sinner. It's taken it to 40-30. Yeah, I mean, that's great play from Sinner. It's clearly the better player at the moment, particularly in this first set. In the second set. In the first set, they were much more evenly matched. But with the confidence of Sinner and, of course, the one-set buffer, just seeing Zverev kind of struggling a bit here in this second set. Okay, and it looks like Sinner's just taken this. So you can see there, Bet365 is a bit quicker than flash scores. Got the game. So there is a slight delay today on the flash scores. Bet365 has a very reliable scoring and very quick. So let's take a look at the pricing again. So yeah, we're not even getting up to 7. So the market's having more confidence in Sinner. So again, I think even from 6.8, you'd be lucky to see maybe 6.6, 6.4. 1.18, 1.7, you're looking at a couple of ticks movement. So definitely not worth trading at this stage of the second set. Hopefully we will have another opportunity to enter the market. But at the moment, say the risk versus reward is just not there. Even if Zverev holds this service game, there's not going to be much of a change in the pricing. And as you can see, the body language again from Sinner, even when he loses a point, he just doesn't seem to be that bothered. He still has the confidence. So Zverev's, it's just gone to 15-all, but Zverev's first service game has improved from earlier on in the second set. Let's have a look at what percentage he's getting in. Yeah, so we're at 59%, we were at 50%. 2 double faults. In fact, Sinner's had 1 double fault. 2 double faults at this stage in the second set is not a good sign. Has had 3 aces. We haven't got the service speeds up yet. In the first set, actually they've taken them down. That's interesting. So for a period after the first set, we had the service speeds. Now I thought they did keep them up, but they've taken them down. Now Zverev did have the faster serves So when he, when he does get these first serves in, he is actually the bigger server. But of course, it all comes down to consistency, which is where Sinner gets the edge. So we've just gone 30-15 here to Zverev. Take a look at the pricing. No movement on the pricing. You're looking at, literally one tick. 1.18 might have just gone down, might have gone to 40-15. No. So just to reiterate, with this very small price movement, very little price movement, it's not worth entering. And just gone to 30 all. So 40-30 to Zverev. So it'd be nice to see a confident hold from Zverev here. Again, it's not going to affect the pricing. Again, just not getting these first serves in. Certainly been a change of momentum. Okay, so he's got that. Service game. So he has won his 4th service game of this second set. Let's just go over to the pricing. And as I said, yeah, 6.4 is where you can get in. It's going between 6.2 and 6.4. If you were trading this, realistically, you're only going to get out at 6.4. And we started between 6.8 and 6.6. So very small price movement, just not worth trading. We've actually got a slight drift. Yeah, it's just momentarily. So 1.19, 1.2 on Sinner. Again, it's just not worth trading at this stage in the second set. Because of course we don't have the risk-reward ratio balanced. We will just hold out here, see if we can get this late break. If we can get the late break, I will be looking to enter. But it's unlikely. Can happen. If it does happen, then I will be entering a trade to back Zverev at this late stage of this second set. Let's see if Zverev can change the momentum and get a late break. Certainly shake up the match. It'd be very interesting to see if he can do that. Let's see. So Sinner serving at 3-4 down, both on serve. It's actually 3-4, but on serve in the second set. As you can see, the price movement there, I'm not quite sure what's happened there, why we've had that shortening of the price. Just before this service game by Sinner. So fingers crossed for a break at this late stage of the second set. If we do get the break, then I will be looking to enter into a trade on Zverev. Okay, 15 love to Sinner. Some nice rallies and some nice play. Again, just look at the confidence of Sinner in the second set. Again, look at the body language of Zverev. Lots of sort of head down, shaking of the head. There's been quite a few interactions between him and his team. Not looking particularly happy in the second set. He's still very much in the match. But of course, he is on the back foot with being one set down. And certainly stats-wise, Sinner is the better player in the second set. So 30 love. As you can see there, Bet365, just as an observation, beat Fairbot, which uses the Betfair stream, again on the pricing. So the Betfair stream, the Betfair pricing is very accurate. Of course, you'll always have the delay on the stream. That's perfectly normal, and it's the same with every betting platform or betting sites that provides you with a live stream. So confident serving here from Sinner. Okay, 40 love. Yeah, he's very confident in this second set. Of course, we still haven't had the break on Zverev, but the momentum is certainly on Sinner's side. Okay, so Zverev's just got a point back. Let's see how that point was won. Okay, another unusual unforced error from Sinner. But again, you can see the difference in their body language. When Sinner does hit an unforced error, he still looks cool, calm, and collected. Okay, he is 40-15 up, which of course is, obviously plays a part in that. But there's just a big difference between the body language between the two players when they do hit an unforced error. So Sinner just looks so confident here. I think he probably will serve this out to take it to 4-4. There we go, 4-4. Let's just see how that point was won. If it was an unforced error or whether it was a winner. Okay, so it was another unforced error from Zverev. So if we look at Zverev's unforced errors here in the second set. Yeah, we're at 14 versus 6. 8 winners. Okay, and the pricing, again, yeah, there we go. So the market really has confidence in Sinner. If you were to enter a trade here on Zverev, which absolutely I'd recommend not to do, because you're going to get tiny price movement. And if he does get broken this late in this second set, you're going to see a major drift on that price, and it's going to wipe out pretty much the majority of your trade. When I got out love 30 in the second service game, Zverev's second service game, I got out with just half a point in the red, which is no major harm done. Again, usually in these matches or other matches, you're making 2, 3, 4 points profit, so a half point loss is no major issue at all. So there's more confident serving there from Zverev. Again, first service percentage from both players is very low in the second set. Just compare this against set 1, 71% and 81%. However, out of these, Sinner has won 11 out of 11, which is an incredible stat, and actually a very good stat, 81%, 13 out of 16 from Zverev. So when they are getting these first serves in, they are winning them. Certainly Zverev on the majority of the time, Sinner every time. So much more confident service game here from Zverev. It won't affect the pricing. Actually, well, the market does seem to have a bit more confidence in him there. But again, it's still only a few ticks movement. It's not worth re-entering at this stage. So it's just gone to 40-15. We'll see how this point was. Yeah, so it's another unforced error. Again, just look at the body language from Zverev. We saw in the last service game from Sinner, he went to 40-15 and he wasn't rattled at all. Zverev is 40-15 now. You can see there just that dropped head, just a bit more negative body language. You see his reaction there. Certainly doesn't have the poker face that Sinner has. Okay, so was this an ace? He's just served out. Let's see what happened with this point. Yeah, so a nice, strong first serve there from Zverev. And the market has a little bit more confidence in him. So we're down at 5.4. Again, it's still a very small price movement and not worth entering. Now we're still looking to chase this late break. If we do get the late break on Sinner, then I will look to enter a trade at this late stage of the second set. So that strong service game from Zverev. Just pulled up his stats there on the second set, first serve percentage. And he's actually ahead of Sinner at 55 versus 61. But of course, this incredible stat from Sinner at 100% is, yeah, I mean, that's quite remarkable. Break points saved, haven't had any more break points. Again, the fact he's even having to save these break points is a slight negative on his side. 15 unforced errors versus 7. But of course, he is winning, hitting more winners. So this is the more aggressive player, 9 versus 4. But of course, the trade-off is more of these unforced errors. So total points won, 49% versus 51. It shows how close this second set is, which of course is why we've got a little bit more confidence in Zverev in the pricing. So the market is changing momentum very slightly, but it still does have complete confidence in Sinner. Having said that, we've just gone love 15. So if we do get the late break here, then I will be entering a trade on Zverev. Would be great to see a late break, say unlikely, but of course it is by all means possible. So again, just these first serves from certainly both players, but certainly Sinner, his first serve percentage has really dropped off here. Okay, so we're at love 30. Let's see what that's done to the pricing. It's 4.3, 4.2. So the market really having confidence. The market is kind of having a bit of a sniff of a break here. Saying that, I wasn't expecting the pricing to move quite that high. You've got to remember, Sinner started at 1.4 pre-match. If he drops the first set, they'll be looking at the exit points. So we could get in at sort of 1.30, but let's see what's happening. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. Okay, so 15.30. Would have been nice to go to love 40, and we would have really seen how much confidence the market would have had in Zverev. But again, you can just see how Sinner is just not rattled by going love 30 down at this stage of the second set. Okay, so 30 all. So the pricing will be, it's pretty much moved back to where it was. So we did have quite a reaction there, overreaction in the market. Look at that, almost went up to, what's that, 1.3234. So quite a reaction in the market just from it going to love 30. But we're back 30 all. So of course it looks more unlikely that we are going to get this late break. And 40-30, very confident serving from Sinner. And actually looks like we're probably heading for a tie break in the second set. Okay, so Sinner has just held his service game to take it to 5 all, and another unforced error from Zverev. So the confidence in the market, oh, that's not what I want to do. The confidence in the market is back on Sinner's side. So Zverev, certainly at this stage of the game, you don't want to be entering into a trade, as of course a break can be pretty catastrophic. So just a reminder, my hedge was only for half a point. If you were to enter that same sort of trade at this stage of the game, you could be looking at sort of 1.5 points loss. So again, really keep an eye on the risk versus reward ratio. So even if Zverev holds here, we're not going to see much movement in this price. There's still another opportunity on Sinner's next service game to get the late break. Let's see how this plays out. So Zverev's first serve percentage. Okay, spoke too soon. He's just not got that first serve in. So it did get up to 63%. Again, that's still ahead of Sinner at 54%. Unforced errors, been quite a few more from Sinner. And Sinner's just edging. No, we're back to 51-49 on the total points. So it is very close. First set here. Second set, sorry. And Zverev's just confidently taken that to 30 love. $40 love. Let's see how he won at this point. Nice to see another ace. Yep. So actually very good first serving from Zverev here. It's just a shame the market doesn't have a bit more confidence in him to give us better pricing. So 6 aces versus 2 double faults. Been quite a few lets from Zverev, which of course there's no harm done. We do want to see a lot more of these first serves going in. Okay, 40-15. It's a shame to see for Zverev to let Sinner come back this late in the second set. Let's see if Zverev can hold out this service game. And then I think the likelihood is Sinner will then hold and will go into a tiebreak. I don't trade tiebreaks. Trading a tiebreak is pretty much just like gambling. Pretty much like throwing your money on a roulette wheel. Okay, so Zverev has held that service game. It's taken his price down to 5, and 1.24. So of course we have got more price movement here, because of course it is later in the second set. And the market has a bit more confidence in him. However, I highly recommend not entering into a trade at this late stage of the set, as a break would be catastrophic. Yes, you would have had a bit more price movement there, not a hell of a lot, and certainly not enough to justify that risk that you would have put up. So good service hold from Zverev there, 64%, winning 78% of these first serves that are going in. But of course, Sinner's got this incredible stat of winning 100% of all of his first serves going in. Let's compare that to set 1. Both players had much higher first serve percentages, 81-71, and he won 85%. And that's still a very good stat, 17 out of 20. And to be fair, 62% is fair. But this stat from Sinner in the second set, 100%, 14 out of 14 is a very strong stat indeed. Having said that, Zverev's had 6 aces, but of course the 2 double faults. Now, I'm pretty sure Sinner here will confidently hold out his service game to take this into a tiebreak. And as I said, tiebreaks are not for me. Having said that, actually, if I have built up a lot of profit, and it's pretty much going to be a sort of free trade, occasionally I will put a little bit, a small percentage on a tiebreak as a sort of late punt. But that's only if I've made up plenty of profit in the match so far. There's just some sort of interruption going on here. Sort of disturbance in the crowd. As I was saying, yeah, if I have built up substantial profit throughout the sets, then I may just take a little bit of a punt on the tie break. But if you haven't made any profit, and in this case we're sitting slightly in the red, on the back foot, then absolutely not. I will not be entering into a trade on the tie break. So 15 love to Sinner. Take a quick look at the pricing. And we're going to pretty much, I think, sit around this sort of level unless there's a sniff of a break. If there's a sniff of a break, we're of course going to see quite an overreaction in the market, but I think this is unlikely. Sinner is looking good on his service game. So 30 love. Now the scoring was just a little bit slow there. Bet365. Just always worth keeping an eye on this. I say some sites are faster than others, but it seems to vary with different matches. There's so many different variations between different matches. But I say you tend to always have plenty of time to enter your trades. You do have to be quick if you're trading in play during the actual game. Most of our trades, the majority of them are placed in between service games. So there's plenty of time to enter your trade. Always want to get in quickly with the prices, but there is plenty of time. So 30-15, nothing much has changed here. And Sinner's still at 100% of his first serves. These are first serves going in. But of course, just like we've just seen there, this first serve percentage is pretty low at 55%. Okay, so Zverev really not giving up here. He's taking it to 30 all. Zverev really needs to try and get this late break to really be back in the whole match, to be honest. Score Sinner to serve to take it into the tie break at 30 all. Again, just not getting his first serves in. Both players have been pretty poor on getting their first serves in. But of course, when they get them in, they're pretty much on fire. If we do get to a break point here, there will be a lot of overreaction in the market. It's an incredible rally. And of course, it's going to be a spoiler because we're going to see the score. There we go. Sinners won that. Wow, what an incredible rally. It is a bit of a spoiler when we get the score before, because of course we know who's won the points, but still worth watching the stream to see exactly how these points are won. I mean, that was incredible play from Sinner. He's now serving to take this second set into a tie break. Again, very little price movement on the Betfair charts. And again, just keeping an eye on the body language from both players. It seems Zverev's really fighting. He's really picking up a fight here, but he just cannot seem to break through against Sinner. There has been some great rallies in this match, and certainly an entertaining match to watch. Okay, so there we go. Sinner has just taken it. 2-6-6. So of course we'll have the tie-break. We'll just see how that was won. And it's another unforced error from Zverev. So that takes Zverev's unforced errors to 18 in this second set. So of course I said tie breaks. I'm not going to trade the tie break. We'll have a look at the price in there. If I had profit built up, then I may have taken a bit of a punt in backing Zverev on the tie break. But as you can see, we had the hedge at love 30. In Zverev's second service game of this second set, no major harm done. It's a drop in the ocean with the profits that we normally make when we're looking at 2, 3, 4 points profit from a lot of these matches. And just to sort of conclude, the price movement was just not enough to justify any more trades in this second set. We got off lightly with the hedge at love 30. No major harm done. It was a shame to have the hedge. Otherwise, I would have just stopped my trading in the second set for a little bit of profit. But that's trading. You've got to take these losses on the chin from time to time. But of course, we win a lot more than we lose. So, tie break in this second set between Sinner and Zverev.
Now, if you found this video useful, then please do check out my YouTube channel for loads more videos and subscribe to be notified of when I upload new videos. And if you'd like to become a successful tennis trader, then you can start your journey by enrolling on my free video course, An Introduction into Tennis Trading, at protennistrader.com. And you can also grab a free copy of my ebook, Tennis Trading, the Ultimate Guide to Getting Started. I'll see you soon.